Welcome, everybody. I hope you're doing good today. It's Saturday. Um, totally did not get to do my live video this week, so during the weekdays, but I still wanted to make sure I got it done, just so I keep reflecting throughout this whole entire crisis, and talking about what's been happening with me and things I've been doing, things I've been working on. So, first of all, the best news, a couple good pieces of news. Let's talk about all that. So, first of all, best piece of news, my semester is done. Yeah. Um, Basically, we were able to finish out the semester and I finished grading and everything. I submitted all my grades and everything yesterday. There's still like some maybe a half an hour worth of stuff to do on Monday, but it's all done. It's such a breath of fresh air. So relieved to be done with it. But now I've got summer classes starting in like, I don't even know, like really soon. And I've got to totally this week, like, got to prep. So it's not like my work is done. It's just, my big stuff is done. It's a little more relaxing right now. So I'm really excited about that. That's super cool. Um, so let's talk about stuff that I've been doing this week, some of new stuff. So first of all, this is the first week that I was able to. I did leave my house. I went to campus. So the way going to campus worked this week, since we're in quarantine and our state's still shut down, is that they were allowing 6 people every 3 hours to go into our building, and I guess they were limiting it to six. But I went there. I signed up for the first session Monday just because I wanted to get there early and make sure I didn't need to interact with anyone. So I did go onto campus, which was cool. I did wear gloves and a mask, which I'm gonna do when I go inside public places until this virus is like, we have it figured out, which we totally don't at this point. So I'm just gonna be a little cautious when I'm going in buildings and stuff. But I went there. I didn't see anyone. Actually, the building was completely empty, just completely dead. So I went there. I wore a mask. I wore gloves. I was only in the building for like 20 minutes, but there was some cool stuff there in my office that I didn't know was going to be there, which is just awesome. So, first of all, what I knew I was going there for was the Oculus Rift headset, because I need to do some stuff with this over the summer. I wanted to make sure I had it. I hadn't had it for 2 months, and I need to make sure I'm keeping up with this, keeping up with the tech, making sure that I am. There's some new apps that I need to try out with this and review and see if I'm going to use them for next year. So there was some stuff I need to use this for over the summer. So I picked this up from my office. Super excited about that. Other things that were good news. As I've mentioned a bunch of times, I'm the advisor of my esports club at my university. So um, we had gotten some advertising and some free stuff from Mountain Dew, which is really cool and nice of companies to like give our students nice thing. Like they gave my students, we got 50 free cases of their energy fuel or something, like some kind of energy drink they give. I'm a big health person. I don't drink energy type drinks, but the students love the stuff. So hey, it's free. Like, let's take it. They gave it to us for free. But when I went to my office, Mountain Dew not only gave us those 50 free cases, which I already knew about, they sent us a bunch of cool materials, which I get. They're doing this for advertising, and so the students get hooked on their product, and so that their names out there and stuff. But you know what? They gave us a headset. They gave us like some mouse pads. They gave us a bunch of like flyers, a banner, and just cool stuff that I'm going to be able to give to my students as a prize during one of our esports events. So look, I know they're getting advertising out of it, but they're giving it to us for free. And now I have some prizes for some of my esports events. So I'm kind of excited that Mountain Dew did that. Really cool of their company to be sponsoring esports, even in the time of like coronavirus when everything's happening. Another good thing that happened this week. So I'm starting a graduate certificate in esports, and that's becoming a reality. There's 100%. We have a graduate certificate in esports now, starting in the fall. I'm also starting an undergraduate certificate too, but the problem is that there's so much politics at a university. It's like anywhere else, but it's really like a government organization where it just takes forever to do anything. So what's happened is there's like all these, when I want to create a new certificate or a major or something like that, you have to fill out all kinds of paperwork, create syllabi, create all kinds of different things. And then it goes through like 20 different committees, and you have to go and present to each of these committees. And they ask you questions, and if the committee decides they don't like it, you're not going to get this thing through. And sometimes it can take like years to get something through. I wrote these in November, so the graduates already through all the graduate committees, and it's like good. All right, now the undergrad is taking a little bit longer, so I have to wait actually 10 days from today. So today's 5/9, 5/19, they're gonna vote, final vote. As soon as that vote happens, assuming it passes, I'm good. I got an undergrad certificate too. They're also voting on our undergrad certificate for online teaching and learning, which I'm super excited about. We have a graduate certificate in this. I'm super excited to see us do this as an undergrad certificate too. It's the perfect time in America, or in the world right now. Our teachers need to be trained to teach online, and that's exactly what this certificate's doing. We need to really make sure that our teachers are aware of online learning and know how to teach online for the next forever. I mean, we're at the point now where we finally like admitted like, hey, online learning is a thing, and like we need to at the very least know how to do it. Okay, so let's go from that to two topics actually. So a weird thing that I saw this week, which I thought was highly unusual. So I guess a student is suing my university because they say that they paid for the live classes and half the semester was only live and the second half was online. I don't want to talk about this lawsuit at all. I don't know anything about it besides what I read in the newspaper. But there was an interesting quote I saw, and I don't know who wrote this quote. I don't know if it was the newspaper that wrote it, if it was part of the court. I don't know who wrote it, but what I saw was that it literally said something along the lines of, "We know that online learning is not as good as face-to-face." And I see that quote, I don't know, maybe it was even a comment, it's something. But when you see stuff like that, are we, like, seriously, it was like 1999 called, they want their quote back. Because we've known for over 20 years now, there was a book written in 2001, The No Significant Difference. The No Significant Difference did a meta-analysis, which is when you compile tons of research studies to see what the conclusion was overall of all of them. And what the No Significant Difference found was that there is no significant difference between an online and face-to-face course when they're both taught using good, solid instructional design practices and instructional strategies, and the teachers know what they're doing. Obviously, if you take like an online course and just throw up some PowerPoint slides, it's going to be bad. But guess what? So is a live course if you try to do that kind of stuff. Anyway, I just thought that was kind of funny. So, next thing I wanted to talk about with online learning is that we're doing a lot more with my kids, which I think is kind of cool. So, like, I got the Oculus this week, which I already talked about a little bit, but man, if you have Oculus Rift, if you have any VR headset, actually, the Wonder app, if you're not familiar with Wonder, so Wonder is a place to do virtual field trips. Man, this thing is amazing. It's Google Maps. You go inside Google Maps and you can go anywhere in the world. Like, I have my kids, they were able to see, like, we took my youngest 4-year-old 2 days ago to the Statue of Liberty. And he's able to, like, look in the VR headset and you can, like, see how big it is compared to you. You can go to the pyramids. My kid, we were just downstairs going to Mount Everest, and they were, like, standing on it. And just, I tell you what, it feels like it's real. It's really, really, really cool. And I realize not every kid is able to do this kind of stuff. But, man, my kids their education is not terrible right now. Yesterday, we took them to the beach in the morning. So the beaches have finally opened up, which I think is a good thing. I think outdoor activities shouldn't be restricted whatsoever. I think what we need to do for outdoor activities is just make sure we're reinforcing social distancing, tell people not to go next to each other on purpose and be mindful of everyone. And I think outdoor activities are extremely low risk activities for catching some kind of virus. So We finally were able to go to the beach, and what we did is we did like a science lesson with them where we found some jellyfish and stuff, and we talked about like the different animals in the ocean, and then we played in the sand, and the kids got to run around, so they got to have gym class bonus. They get tired in the beach, so it was they got to go in. The water's finally warm enough where I live in Wilmington to go in. So the boys all got to go in the water. They all got to ride some waves. Awesome time. So I think that the homeschool thing is not going bad. But the funny and bad part about homeschool is that like it's a real drain on my wife. Like she's totally like homeschooled out, I think, right now, because like I've been working full time and she's basically homeschool. She also runs a business. She is dealing with the kids. She's making like food like a million times a day because they demand it. And I think that that's like being a little challenging for her. And it's kind of funny because it's Mother's Day on Sunday, and like usually during Mother's Day she wants to be with, like spend the day with the kids, and this Mother's Day it's like you've literally been spending every day with the kids, so and you're still going to do it tomorrow, but like how can we give you a break from the kids, because usually that's not what she wants to do. She wants to be with them. So I thought that was kind of funny. Not funny, but funny. It's like one of those things where like when you look back on it you're going to be like, oh haha, that was, yeah, that sucked for her. And it does. So we're going to try to do some stuff to help her with that. Um, but so that's kind of like what's been happening with the whole like coronavirus thing. Really interesting stuff like happening. So first of all, I'm going to be doing an interview hopefully this week. It depends on his schedule, with an infectious disease expert, epidemiologist, disaster epidemiologist actually is the title. And we're going to be talking about coronavirus. I want to talk about like when I do this interview with him, it's going to be all, I want to get like the facts out. Like I want to see what I, I'm really curious to hear him explain stuff that I just hear in the media, like just different kinds of questions. I don't want to deal. I'm not dealing with conspiracy theory junk. I'm not going to be getting into politics. Nothing like that. That's not my thing. I could care less about any of that stuff. I deal with issues and deal with things. Coronavirus is the thing that we're dealing with, and I want to get like the facts and find out like just some interesting things that I'm not aware of, that like what goes through first of all, what even is an epidemiologist? Like what is that? Do people even know what that means? And like why are they different from a doctor or a standard nurse? Like what makes someone an epidemiologist and an expert on viruses versus like your general practitioner doctor? So I want to find out like things like that. Like I'm kind of curious. So that's going to be coming. I'm not going to do that interview live. I'm going to record it and post it up on my YouTube channel either this week or at the latest next weekend. It depends on his schedule because now I'm a little more free. So it's going to be up to his schedule, but I've got like my questions. I kind of know what I'm going to do. I'm ready for that. I'm psyched for that interview. Okay, so that's coming up, which is kind of cool. But in general, things that I've been noticing with the virus are kind of interesting. So it seems like everything's starting to open up, which I don't know if it's a good or a bad. I mean, it's good like mentally. I think we need it, man. I think like people are just done like sitting in. But I hope that like I just hope that it doesn't like lead to more deaths and increase in a virus. That's just my hope. I just hope that that's what happens. I hope it doesn't lead to anything bad. I hope we can open up and like get back to somewhat normalcy a little bit. Like that would be awesome. So we'll kind of see, but I think I think it's giving a lot of people hope, and I think that's maybe a good thing. I really, really, really hope that school's going to open up in the fall for kids and college students. I think it will. I think it's just going to be a little different. I don't know how yet, but I really hope school opens up in the fall, and I think it will. Like right now, the data is pointing to things going down, and I hope it keeps doing that. So that's like interesting, and we'll kind of see like what happens. But as of right now, I'd say like there's definitely like a bad political climate in America where people are, I don't even know. People are like, so first of all, there's tons of really crazy conspiracy theories out there. And because the virus is unknown and there's so much unknown about it, people are just believing like they don't want to really believe it's bad or real, and they believe these some conspiracies which make no sense, and you can easily look up and find that they don't make sense and they're not real, but there are people who are definitely falling for them, And that's kind of interesting, I guess, to watch. But I mean, it's people are really like hardcore, like it's unusual conspiracies, like to the very extreme end where people are just basically like, I'm watching, reading comments on like our news site where, they'll say, so this person died of coronavirus, and someone will say, someone who has no training, doesn't know anything about how you diagnose a death, doesn't even maybe even have a college education, will be sitting there telling a doctor who's saying this person died of coronavirus that that's just pretend, they're making it up. It's very strange dialogue happening in society right now. I'm almost baffled by it. I don't really want to get into it too much, but it is baffling to me. The conspiracies out there and the people that are believing them and posting them, and I don't know. I saw an interesting quote on X-Men. So this is cool. Get way off topic here. So we're finally watching some superhero shows with my kids, which is really cool that they're at the age where they can appreciate this stuff. So we watched Spider-Man 1 yesterday. We watched Spider-Man 2 this morning. They're literally just starting Spider-Man 3 right now. And then I'm going to show them like Batman, not like the Dark Knight stuff, but like the first and the first Batmans, like the one with Michael Keaton, and those first few, the one with like Arnold, and those ones I think will be good for the kids to watch. And then like I want to get them in the X-Men, which I love the X-Men, always been a huge fan. But we were watching the trailer for X-Men because I was telling them about the X-Men this morning, and they were curious about what it was. And one of the things it was really interesting because if you're familiar with X-Men at all, they have Professor X and Magneto. Professor X is like, he wants to save humanity, and he believes that humanity can like mutants. And then there's Magneto on the other side, who believes that humanity's evil because they hate mutants, and the mutants should destroy humanity. Like there should be a war. And there was a quote by Professor X um, in the trailer that I thought was so applicable to today's situation. And it was something I'm not going to be able to remember exactly what the quote was, but I'm going to tell you basically what it was. So the quote was something like, it's not that humanity is afraid of us being mutants, at him himself, not me. I'm not a mutant. It's not that humanity is afraid of us. Humanity just needs to be educated about us. I thought it was a really, really, really interesting quote because I feel like it's what's happening with like the lack of, people don't believe anything, where it started with like people not believing the media, but then it's went to like people not believing scientists or anybody. They don't believe anyone. And so it's this whole like, I thought the quote was just applicable. I thought it was interesting, and I thought like maybe we need to really do a better job of teaching people how to do research, how to look things up, how to analyze situations, how to determine fact from fiction, like just how to critique and analyze and learn those kind of like that problem solving skill set, so they can much better know how to read a newspaper article and tell which part of it is opinion versus which part of it is fact, and how to look up facts and determine like what does it really mean to do research and do a literature review, and how's an experiment really done, and what is peer review. I see the word being thrown around a lot, but I'm not sure people get what it is and what the peer review process is like and stuff. And I think we could do a much better job in society of educating people about this stuff. Like it's interesting, and it's affecting every human, so like they should know about it. And like we don't teach it in schools unless you're going for a PhD about that kind of stuff. And I feel like maybe we need to really start doing some of that stuff. I think it would be good for everybody just to learn how to analyze, critique, be better informed themselves. Because there's a lot of bad stuff out there. There's a lot of bad people, and it just takes one bad apple in a news organization to ruin them, or any organization for that matter, any group of people, that kind of stuff. So I don't know. I'm curious about that. Kind of stinks. Today would have been graduation, and no graduation today because of the pandemic. I guess some schools did it virtual, which I think was kind of cool. I kind of wish we would have done that. I've never been a big fan of like attending graduations anyway, because I'm not like a big crowd people person, like being somewhere where there's lots of crowds and stuff. So I would be up for a virtual graduation. I think it would have been kind of cool. I think we should have done something, but we're not. We pushed it back till August. But who knows? Maybe we'll do it virtual anyway. So I don't know. But that would be kind of cool. I created some neat videos this week, so definitely check them out on YouTube. I'm excited about this interview that I have coming up. I think it'll be kind of cool. I'm also really excited the beaches are finally opened up. I'm excited that I got my Oculus headset from the university. That was really cool. I was excited to see some of the cool stuff Mountain Dew gave my esports club. I'm excited I got this at least a graduate certificate going, and hopefully the undergrad's going to pass. I'm going to do some stuff in here today and tomorrow. It's Mother's Day, but I'm going to do some stuff in my office. I think I'm going to rearrange like my background a little bit here. So hopefully when you see me again on video, like my background's going to be changed a little bit. I think I'm going to put some of my paintings up. I've got some paintings. I mean, I paint all the time. I'm a painter. I have literally like 30 paintings sitting over there in the corner, like canvases and stuff. And you can probably see them sometimes when I'm doing different videos. You see like weird paintings in the background. I'm a painter, so I love painting. So I'm going to definitely put some of those more in my background. I want them to show up a little bit. And yeah, that's about it. Freezing outside, weather's cold, so I think that's bringing people down. But I think people are, you know, feeling good that maybe the worst part of the virus is past us, but we got to remains to be seen. I mean, we're literally just coming down from a peak. So whether opening things up is a good or bad thing, we're going to find out because things are opened up. So anyway, that's it for today. My kids we're going to go watch Spider-Man 3, which I'm super excited about. So yeah, I'm glad they're into the superhero stuff. Then we're gonna do after Spider-Man, Batman, X-Men. We got the Avengers. We got Super. Oh man, there's just so many of them. So many good ones. They're just like, I mean, there's an endless. I'm not even thinking of half of them. Then there's just so many. I'm so glad that. And I was explaining to them how like Stan Lee. I was like, there's this one guy who created all this stuff, and they were like, how did it take him 3 years to create the Spider-Man? I'm like, I don't know, but. You know, it was such a simple first comic and such simple ideas that were born into, you know, these great series and stories, which is just awesome. But anyway, that's it for me for today. Have a nice day, everybody. Have a good rest of your weekend. And I will be on talking more about what's been happening during quarantine now that I start summer session school next week. All right, later on.